Does an apple a day really keep the doctor away? Will scaring someone really get rid of their hiccups? All these and more questions. They're old wives' tales. But are any of them really true? Real Simple magazine looked into it, and beauty and health director Dee Dee Gluck is here to bust some myths. Hey, Dee Dee, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
I have to tell you, I love this segment because it seems to me that my children are affected by each and every one of these. The first one is, in part, all of these have a kernel of truth in them. Is that why they last so long?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, I'm guilty of this with my own kids as well. As moms, we tend to, use hyperbole or anything that will get their attention to make sure that they're safe and healthy. So I think where there's a kernel of truth to all of these, we exaggerate a little bit.
Okay, so let's start with an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Is that true or false?
Again, the kernel of truth here is that fruit is good for you. We know that, and it's nice to remind kids an apple a day. An apple is a healthy pick, of course, but blueberries are really, if you have to have one fruit every day, try and make it blueberries. They're packed with healthy antioxidants that help prevent things like diabetes and heart disease.
And then what about a myth about, moms always say you got to go out with dry hair because you'll catch a cold if you go out with wet hair?
Yeah, I'm still traumatized by that one. I can barely make it out the door if my hair is wet. But the researchers in England did an actual study of this where they exposed two groups of people to a virus, and then one of the groups of people went and took a bath and stood in the hallway in a cold hallway with wet socks. I mean, every mother's nightmare. And
could you imagine volunteering for that test? That would have been a bummer.
You have to wonder who volunteers for these. And but that group did not get sick any more than the control group, which stayed nice and toasty warm.
Okay, so no additional colds from wet hair. What about starve a cold, feed a fever, or feed a cold, starve a fever? Is that true?
Again, there's a kernel of truth there. You want to do one or the other. The important thing is to stay hydrated above all else. You can go longer without food than you can without water, without bad things starting to happen to your health. So no matter what, you want to make sure you stay hydrated.
Okay, and this is the big one. Can you scare your hiccups away? I have my 3-year-old gets hiccups an awful lot, and I think, should I scare him?
Yeah.
Does it work?
Well, I don't know if he'd appreciate that. And it probably wouldn't get rid of his hiccups, more importantly. There have been no medically proven, none of these myths have been medically proven to be sound as far as hiccups.
Right, like the drinking the water or this doing things upside down, or none of those seem to work.
Exactly.
But there is one that might have an impact.
There is one. Back in 1971, I don't know why the group of researchers decided to test this out, but a teaspoonful of granulated sugar in 19 out of 20 of the cases of people with hiccups, that actually cured their hiccups.
And do they know why?
They don't know why that is.
It's curious to me.
It's very curious.
I know.
It's not the worst one to test out.
Right. And this is a classic doctor mom situation. Your kids are eating a sandwich, they don't finish the crust, and you say, come on, finish the crust.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking it's because of all the starving kids all over the globe, but you're saying it's actually full of nutrients.
Yeah. Again, this was studied, and there's something that happens in the baking process of bread.
Who knew?
I know that the crust itself seems to be high in a cancer-fighting antioxidant. Mm-hmm. That said, as far as bread goes, really the key is that you want to look for 100% whole wheat bread.
That's very interesting. And my old swim coach used to say, you are what you eat, so eat a lot of fish so that you would swim fast. But the other myth is that eating fish makes you smarter. Is that true?
It is actually true, especially in the first few years of the child's life. That's the critical brain development time. And the ingredients like omega-3 fatty acids and DHA that are found in fish are extremely beneficial.
That is so interesting. And so the real puzzle then becomes, how do you get your kids to eat the fish? Because that's the hard part.
Right. Well, I find also a lot of with fish, kids, the older they get, I found anyway with my own, the more they hear from other kids, ooh, fish is not good. Kids are born liking fish for the most part, provided it's fresh fish and it's cooked well. But if they absolutely cannot choke down fish, you can also introduce them to walnuts, obviously cut up very small if the child is under 2. And also avocados.
Have omega-3 fatty acids, really?
Omega-3 fatty acids,
That I didn't know. Because now eggs are being touted as a big provider of omega-3s.
Yes, eggs are also extremely healthful and full of omega-3s.
And all of that is good in the first 3 years of a kid's life.
Particularly. I mean, obviously they're great in the rest of your life as well, but those are the critical brain development years.
Right. And so in all of these myths that you took a look at, all of them have some basis in truth, which is really
Yes.
why they seem to not go away. The old wives' tales never die.
Yes, it's true. It's true. There's actually one of those myths that I found extremely interesting, which was that you lose most of your heat through your head. And people used to say, oh, you lose 75% of your body heat through your head. Well, they were looking at children. And obviously, children's heads are bigger in comparison to their bodies. So they may have been losing more heat through
Right.
their heads. But we all lose heat through our heads.
That is so interesting. And Dee Dee Gluck of Real Simple Magazine, these were fantastic myth-busting truths. I appreciate your being
Thank
here.
you.
All right, and you can get more health news at the abcnews.com website.